Hey y'all, welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Colton, here with Brandon. 5 cards, 5 minutes. We're wrapping up quintuplets with uncommons and commons. Brandon, what's our first card?
First up, we have Overconfidence and Carelessness Ichika. This is a 3/2 that's 2,000 power assist to the characters in front. When you play it down from hand, it heals. And when you bring another character on stage from waiting room, so basically through standby, you get to choose one of your characters and give a character +1 soul. So you play this in the standby build, put this down in the back row. Every time you trigger standby and bring a character on field, you can grant soul to another character. It fits right into that 8 standby build.
Yeah, this is literally just a standby card, right? It gives 2,000 power and selective soul pump. It's a tech card. It'll show up in 8 standby because it helps 8 standby close games. Next, Mother in Her Memories Itsuki. If your level is 3 or higher, this card gets the following ability. You can sack it to choose an opponent's character and move it, or stand and swap it, so it doesn't matter if there's an open spot on the field or not. It's also a 1/1 Adachi. When this card becomes reversed, if the level of this card's opponent is higher than your opponent's level, you can put that character into your opponent's memory. This is a sick Adachi profile because it memory kicks, doesn't stock kick, bottom deck, nothing like that. It just removes your opponent's early place from the game, which is super useful, especially in the meta that we're seeing right now, where Kanata and the 2/2 quintuplets, standby targets, and things like that are so easy to recur. It also allows you to stand and swap things, giving yourself potentially reverse targets, or just bringing up your opponent's power pump, getting rid of it. A lot of options here. This is an incredibly useful card, and I'm surprised it's not being run in more quintuplets lists.
We also see Fantasizing Ichika. This has a change effect that at the beginning of climax phase, you can return this card back to your hand. And if you do, you can choose one of your characters in hand and put it on stage. This is a really fun card to be able to stand by in at 2 and then use its second ability, which is a pay 2 rest self, burn your opponent for 1. And then use the change effect to bounce back to hand and put a character level 3 in hand on stage as early as level 2. So effectively, it's a change for any card on your deck.
Yeah, when you hit this on a standby trigger, it becomes a free burn 1 that allows you to essentially early play anything in your hand. Good way to get the combo down at level 2. Not to mention, it's just a burn 1 on a stick that you essentially get for free. It's solid. You're going to see it in a lot of 8 standby lists. Next, maybe my favorite card in the entire set, Runaway Train of Love. If you have 5 or more Ninos on your board, choose one of your characters, and this character gets the following ability. When this card attacks, reveal the top 9 cards of your deck, shuffle your deck, and then deal X damage to your opponent. X is equal to the total number of standby icons in the trigger icons of those cards. When you use the 12 standby CX combo that makes your level 3 top end also into a standby trigger, this does count. The best art in the entire set. I like this card. It's not good, but it's amazing.
This card is definitely set for Nino waifu decks. With that in mind, having the ability to burn based off the number of standby triggers and then potentially increase the number of standby triggers in the top 9 cards of your deck is really interesting. You could burn 4, burn 5, depending on how compressed you are or how many of the 3/2 pieces you have in your deck still. Last up, we have What an Elder Sister Can Do Ichika. This is a frontal assist based off of your character's levels, times 500. When you trigger Choice Trigger, you can choose a character in waiting room and put it underneath this card as a marker. And then as an act ability, you can spend the marker from underneath this card to essentially time machine one of your opponent's characters. You get to choose which one, so it could be a character in the back row as well. Send that character to memory, and they bring it back to stage at their encore step. This allows you to be able to remove potentially pieces that grant power across field. This can remove potential pieces that grant hexproof. This can remove Negsoul pieces as well. So you have a lot of ways to be able to affect your opponent's board.
It gets rid of annoying back row effects that give your opponent power. This deals with that. It doesn't remove it permanently, but it removes it long enough for you to get your combos down without having to worry about what your opponent can do. Some cards also require 5 cards on board to play certain money counters and things like that. This just says your opponent doesn't get to play that. So pretty solid. It can also open lanes to help you get around tap counter. This will show up in 8 choice lists. It's a good tech, and it has enough usefulness to be played in probably every 8 choice list. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back on Tuesday with Weiss 102. More 5 cards, 5 minutes next Thursday, followed by another Clock Talk on Tuesday where we'll talk about more regionals results and more 5 cards, 5 minutes in 2 weeks. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.
We'll see you then.